My name is Chris DeLuca. I am the owner of Tennessee Film Solutions here out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Today we are in the beautiful town of Cornersville, Tennessee, working at the Tennessean truck stop. About 3,000 square foot project. Most of it's on ladders and lifts. A little bit of a trial to kind of get to some of the windows, but it's always fun to kind of deal with the challenges that we face every day in this industry. The products that we're installing on the Tennessean truck stop are Huper Optik's Ceramic 30 on anything above ground level windows, and then everything ground level is Huper Optik Ceramic 40. The owner of the truck stop wanted to get rid of heat, but his main concern was visibility in both daytime and nighttime. Competing with another company that came out, they did not have something that was going to give him what he asked for. And Johnny Flores Lobos, believe it or not, Johnny, if you're out there, buddy, I appreciate this for sure. This kind of came through Johnny out of Virginia, which was kind of nice. So he kind of gave me this lead and we kind of ran with it from where we were going. And that kind of helped us kind of seal the deal, so to speak, for what we were dealing with. But Johnny Flores Lobos was the guy that kind of took care of this for us, for what was going on. This is a larger project per scale than what I typically can do on my own. Right now with some stuff going on back in Atlanta, I needed some help on this project. Dave Stevenson, great guy, he said, sure, why not? I'll come help you. And then one of my guys back from Atlanta did make the trip with me to kind of make this happen. So it is kind of a hodgepodge crew. I would say everybody from only 3 months of experience up to 30 years of experience. So we kind of had a little bit of a diverse crowd. Everybody worked super well together to kind of get this thing handled and done. It was nice to kind of see guys who've never met each other and watch different techniques and go, wow, what kind of tool is that? It was kind of neat to see, I'm not saying the younger generation, but to see guys who haven't been doing it as long go, well, how did you do that? Or why did you do that? So it's kind of nice to have some guys that have never seen you do what you do, or why you do what you do, kind of do the things in certain repetitious ways or different techniques, so to speak. So it was fun over the last 24 to 36 hours to kind of see how everybody went about doing what needed to be done. Whether it's on a lift or on the ladder, guys just cutting film or picking up trash, running stuff back and forth. I mean, everybody worked super well together to kind of make this project really, really smooth for what we were dealing with. So every day, people walking into this particular facility with what we're doing, we're getting lots of questions, lots of eyes, and it's not just the window film. This is one of the most magnificent facilities, whether a truck stop or not. Like, this place is fantastic. I've never been in a building like this, so when I walked in, my eyes were popping out of my head, and my jaw was to the floor as well. When you add guys that are on lifts and putting film on windows, and they're going, well, what are they doing? And they're hearing that it's a clear film, you can see in from the outside and it's stopping heat. People are like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. The one question we got asked a bunch was, hey, you got enough to do my car? That's always the question you get. If you got any left over, can you go put some on my car? I want that ceramic tint. So you kind of got to explain to people like, hey, this could work, but this is not what we're here for. So it's kind of funny. Like, some people have talked to us about other things. We actually had a deacon from a church ask us about safety security films. We've had a couple other people ask about, where can I get this product for my house? And like I said, where do you live? Oh, I live in Kentucky. So to see people traveling through and kind of doing what they're doing, it's kind of nice to have conversations with people, educate them, kind of let them understand what's a myth and what's a fact. Because there are a bunch of those, as we're well aware of, circulating out in the universe, especially the internet universe. So like I said, if it's on the internet, it's gotta be real, right? Huper ceramic films are a little bit different than every other product within their lines and our competitors' products. It definitely holds water after it's installed, especially during the winter months, a little bit more so than you would anticipate or want. The big part with the ceramic series films is making sure you put enough pressure, you're pushing out enough water. With this particular install, I made all the guys add alcohol, rubbing alcohol to the bottles, not a ton, but just enough to kind of help with the drying process right now based on temperatures, because they're due for severe cool weather here over the next 48 hours as well. So it's imperative that we get the film on the glass, start squeegeeing it out. And again, a couple of the guys made them kind of double squeegee the windows just to make sure we got extra moisture out before we went on to the next one. So like I said, it is imperative with this particular product that you put enough oomph behind it to kind of get the water to come out of the windows. Otherwise, you're gonna have bubbles and blisters for months if you don't do it the right way. Lots of phone calls, hey, I need this fixed, need that fixed. It definitely makes things a little bit more difficult. So the challenges with these particular products, if you're not used to these particular films, they are pressure sensitive adhesives. And what that means is they are sticky to the touch, like a piece of tape. It's not a chemical adhesive where it's not sticky on either side. It's a dry adhesive, so to speak. So if you're dealing with a window, then we have a few windows here that are 6 feet by 6 feet, it makes things a little bit more difficult. So what makes the Huper brand for me ideal for this solution was two different things, or two different requirements. Again, one was visibility, which was huge. They still needed people to see in both daytime and nighttime, in and out, based on safety, security, and the fact that this is such a beautiful facility. The other thing is price. I mean, at the end of the day, I would have recommended the Select series to do all of this based on the heat and the look. He wanted something that was not necessarily cheap. He wanted cost-effective, budget-friendly-ish, but was not afraid to spend the extra money versus going with, say, a dual reflective film, which has a little bit of that sheen or reflective property to it for what we're dealing with. So at the end of the day, he wanted it to be classy, he wanted it to be professional, and it needed to be very performance-driven. Starting in the flat glass industry over automotive, for me, I see that being way more valuable, and it also, like I said, it does allow you to get your feet wet with different types of materials, which makes more sense to a lot of people. So again, at the end of the day, it is a easier learning curve. Now, like I said, with the auto side of things, cutting on cars, do you use a Olfa knife to cut quarter windows? Are you going to use a marker and then cut it on a board? Like I said, there's so much more that can go wrong on the automotive side versus the residential commercial side. Automotive guys come into the flat glass industry, first thing they think is you can put any product, so to speak, on any window. Knowing glass and materials, what it can do, does it absorb, does it reflect, is huge. That is the biggest thing I'm going to tell anybody who's coming over from the automotive side and transitioning to flat glass, is you need to know the difference in the types of glass that you're dealing with and the films you're wanting to install, because now you're dealing with breaking windows and glass breakage. And if you go out and, hey, I just want a job, I just cut everybody's throat to get it, and I'm doing a 20,000 square foot office building, and you put the wrong film on and you crack every single one of those windows, you are now responsible for buying all new windows and trying to figure out what you're going to do as far as the film. You're going to ruin your reputation, you're going to lose your business, and your insurance is going to drop you as soon as you're done. So that is the big thing I would say, is knowing the material that you're installing and what it is safe to apply to. That would be my first thing from the beginning. My personal opinion on the best way to kind of learn or get a new idea on or sense of our industry is go to your dealer meetings. Talk to guys who've been doing this forever. If there's a glass company that you're dealing with, or if there's a glass expo, knowing the differences and talking to them, whether it's single pane, double pane, annealed, tempered, heat strengthened, triple paned, low E. That's the big one right now. We get calls all the time from people saying, hey, my neighbor's yard is catching on fire from our windows. What can you do? You know, there are products you can put on, but in the Southeast, I don't personally sell window film to cover that anymore. I'm selling screens. So what can you get away with, what you can't get away with? If this is your first rodeo, you're just starting out, make sure you have enough money when you start the business or with the loan that you're taking out to go ahead and pay Google. I'm going to say right now, to start off, AdWords, huge. Be the top sponsor, even if it's going to cost you out the ass, pardon my language, for the first 6 months. That really helps kind of get you at the top. I am hugely going to say no to social media. It doesn't work that well except with your family and friends. Based on where we're located, and everybody has their own little Facebook Connect for their own areas, there's 30,000 guys doing what you do. And everybody's going to say this guy is the best, not necessarily for the quality of work or the materials, but because he's doing this entire car for 80 bucks and you're charging 300. So social media is the worst place to put your eggs in that basket to do what you're needing to do. When I first started, I've done the Angie's List. I did the helps, whatever it was as far as the next doors. Those work really well in the beginning, but you're paying for those services, but you're not guaranteed the job. It helps you get your name out there, but I would say honestly, still to this day, it's Google. I mean, it's the internet. Analytics are proven to work. Print media, depending on how you want to go about doing that. I've done plenty of magazines at $4,000 to $8,000 a magazine. Everybody thinks, wow, he's on the cover of the magazine. That's awesome. You pay for that, guys. Like, that's the difference. Are you going to get enough money from that magazine? No, and that's never worked for me. And other guys in this industry and colleagues and friends who have done it will tell you the same thing. It's great to see your name on the magazine and goes out to 40,000 people, but you're not getting a single call from anybody when it comes down to that. As far as starting a business in 2024, I think it's easier to do anything now because everything is so accessible. You don't have to actually do anything other than promote yourself. You see all these bloggers now and all the kids who follow all these guys, the kids who have nothing to their name but go out and post YouTube videos. Next thing you know, they're being given Ferraris to jump off of a cliff. Like, that's the part I don't understand, is how expendable income has become these days, and the fact that anybody can do whatever the heck they want to do because they have a camera or they have a microphone, or like, and that's truly the case. Like I said, anybody can make anything look amazing based on the ability to edit. 20 years ago, you didn't edit at home. You had to have professional equipment to splice videos together, to go out and do something that looked like a production. That's not needed anymore. So technology has advanced so much. I don't see there being anything that would keep you from being able to start a business and do it any way you wanted to, or look as big as you wanted to. Hence those top 5, top 10 columns in those magazines that show you what you make every year. Anybody can do whatever they want. Like I said, and that's the scary part. You truly don't know sometimes what you're actually getting. Everybody looks nice on paper. They look nice online. And then when you meet them, you're going, wow, that's not what I was expecting. Or when you, as seen on TV, when you open the box, when you get it home, it's not what you thought you were going to get based on what you saw on the commercial. I mean, think about it. When you were a kid and you got your toys, you saw them on TV, like, that's what I want, that's what I want. And you got it, and it didn't do anything or act, and it was broken in 2 seconds. That's kind of how I see a lot of businesses these days. They're so quick to start up and then so quick to disappear. And then they start up again underneath a different name. So that's a really, really hard question to answer as far as 2024. But I would say businesses are now more expendable based on those particular things. Like, truly, like, technology has truly made that happen. Customer interaction in the flat glass industry is huge. You have to be personable. People have to relate to you. They have to like you. You don't always have to get along, but it needs to be a respect thing for what's going on. That is, I think, where I kind of excel a little bit better than most, is my ability to have a conversation with the husband or the wife or the facilities guy. You do run into issues occasionally where some people just kind of have a little bit more of an analytical feel, and you just can't kind of connect. And that happens a little bit more on the commercial side when you're dealing with bigger buildings and businesses. Guys want data, they want answers, they want to know what's the return on investment, and that's hard to deal with sometimes when you're just trying to let them know, like, hey, you're going to get all the performance you're asking for, but in the meantime, you need to worry about Sally, who's next to the window, who's wearing a t-shirt and a pair of shorts, and then you got Billy, who's in the middle of the building wearing a parka and a beanie on his head, because there's a difference in temperature. It really comes down to being able to have a conversation and talk to them on their level. And again, like I said, sometimes that's hard for a lot of people to do. So if you're not a personable person, you need to figure out a way where you can find a connection with who you're working with, just something to kind of give you a little bit of a grip. I'm not saying you got to grab on and hold on for dear life, but something that just allows you to make them feel at ease that you, one, you know you can do what you say you're going to do, and two, they're happy with the conversation and knowing that they think that you are a genuine person and somebody that they think they will be okay with working with. I don't get along with everybody I've given quotes to. There are jobs we've lost based on clash of heads, so to speak, or not being able to have that conversation the way that they wanted the conversation to go. And that's okay. Sometimes it's all right to not get along or to take a job, because there is going to be some friction or some conflict with your potential client and you as, the installing company. So at the end of the day, you'll know when you start the conversation how it's going to go. Sometimes it doesn't work out until like the later in life, the third or fourth job, and then something changes and they're expecting one thing when you're trying to deliver the other. So like I said, it's a matter of being able, again, we talked about this earlier, being able to troubleshoot and make things happen without conflict, so to speak. Based on size of projects and scopes and being a one-man crew, so to speak, if you're that guy, your shop, it just depends on what you're comfortable with, what you know you can do in a day or how long you think a project's going to take, or depending on what you're looking at as far as profit margins. Is it worth bringing somebody on? Is it not worth bringing somebody on? If you do, how do you do it? Do you pay them by the hour? Do you pay them by the job? Do you pay them by the square foot? There's a lot of different variables that roll into that based on how a lot of different guys in this industry make those decisions. For me, it's one of those things where I look at a job like this and I know I can do the majority of it myself in a couple of days. However, is it worth killing yourself for 24 hours, basically 12 hours a day, without any help to get this done? And the short answer for me is no. Long answer is still no. Like it's better to have somebody that you can trust, that you know can help you, that you can lean on to kind of get the job done. And it's, at the end of the day, when you bring them in and you pay them and they're making money and they're making more money than they thought they were going to make, and you have a great time doing it, it's worth that. So it's nice to have somebody to laugh with, to talk to while you're in the middle of a job versus being up there cussing the film in the window all by yourself. So it is nice to have somebody there with you or a crew to come in to kind of make things a little bit more expeditious. I mean, this job literally should have taken 3 days. As far as managing big projects, bringing in different programs to help you kind of put this together, tape measure, pencil, paper. I mean, that's it. Send them an invoice, deposit up front, cover all your materials, cover travel expenses, cover labor, food, all the things that you need to know, miscellaneous items that you can think are going to happen, and you get the deposit first. Once you get the deposit, then you worry about, hey, I need to bring in X, Y, or Z, and that kind of helps out for what's going on. I love Eric and those guys. As far as doing Tint Whiz, I love some of the other programs, but I'm still one of those guys where I don't look at the program side of things. Like, I'd rather just kind of pull out the tape measure and sharpen the pencil and write stuff down. Like, I'm a very visual person. I don't rely on technology a ton, and that's the hard part for me. Is I'm not saying I'm a dinosaur of the industry, but guys my age or older, I mean, I'd even say 35 or older, aren't necessarily relying on the technology as much unless it's just they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And again, I'm not saying that's bad of the other guys in the industry. It's just the way that I feel. It's just me personally. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Technology still works for me. Like I said, sharpening the pencil and writing on a piece of paper, at the end of the day, if you make the mistake, you make the mistake. You can't blame it on a program or a glitch, so to speak. So it takes the AI and the technology out of it for sure.